In a nutshell, while we're providing support, knowledge, and resources, it's about knowledge. And we know that knowledge is power. But in addition to providing knowledge and power information, we're keeping it real. Because like you, staying safe and keeping this social distance, and yes, struggling with the grief and loss that many of us are feeling in our families, in our community, and in our very homes is hard. But we also understand through this process that something else has been revealed. COVID has ripped the veil off of the impact and how deadly racial disparities are. And for those who didn't realize it, now we know how important it is that individually we struggle and combat this, but as a community that we unite to make sure that we have policies that advance the health and well-being of our children, our families, and our seniors, and that we have equity in education and health and economic development. Beloved Detroit, let us continue to work together in our knowledge and to exercise our power and to stay connected.
Just like a lot of parents out there, these past few weeks since the quarantine have been very challenging for me. My family routine has been flipped upside down. Being at home with a toddler, a middle schooler, and a high schooler has been really difficult. Trying to balance my work responsibilities, making sure that everyone in the house is doing something more productive than just watching TV and being on an Xbox is quite challenging. And then having to decipher all of the different demands that distance learning requires from me and from my kids is also a bit of a challenge. So they are all at different learning stages, have different learning styles, and they're in different school systems. So a lot of times it just has me wondering, am I doing enough for my kids? And I feel like a lot of parents, I hear that from a lot of parents. And at the end of the day, we are doing enough. We're doing the best that we can. I mean, some days I know for me, some days are better than others, but I know that all we can do is, do the best that we can with what we have.
Isn't it amazing that we have made it to week 7 of this pandemic? I know there are lots of reasons to not celebrate, but I think the fact that we made it this far says something about our strength, our faith, our determination to not let this pandemic beat us. Although we are living a new normal, whatever that means to you, I'm convinced that together we will make it through. I especially applaud parents like you and parents like me. Most of our households now serve as a temporary classroom. Our kitchens have become little restaurants that never seem to close. My children eat all day. I don't know about anybody else, but parents who are no longer working and those parents who are fortunate enough to be working out of their homes are trying to maintain a sense of normalcy, keeping their families safe and their children academically engaged. That's really, really tough, especially when you have children like my creative, funny, athletic 14-year-old son, who, by the way, has ADHD. He would much rather spend his time on video games than his math lessons. I know it's been hard assisting your children with their schoolwork. I know it's been hard. It's been tough for me. Math at the kitchen table with 3 kids in 3 different grades, different learning styles, finding a schedule that makes sense, whatever that means, teacher check-ins or no teacher check-ins at all of it is just way too much. COVID-19 has highlighted in real time all of the inequities in our school system. We see it now. Families without access to technology and internet, a lack of clarity around the plans for students with special needs, students and their families needing food daily, and the list goes on and on. We really haven't done a good job of taking care of one another. We really haven't. We haven't made sure that everyone had what they needed before this crisis. Instead, some of what we had long before the pandemic was overcrowded classrooms. We had unsafe buildings, uncertified teachers in several school districts, outdated books, lack of supplies, and you can just continue to the list. I say we use this moment as an opportunity to reset and make it right. The most valuable lessons are learned in the toughest times. And it's times like these that help us to reflect and reevaluate. And we have an opportunity to do that right now. Just last week, the courts decided on the side of Detroit students that they had a right to literacy, that the inequitable policies put in place by key leaders in our state interfered with Detroit students' opportunity to learn. Now, although the court's decision is good news, it's not over. We need Governor Whitmer to settle this case. We need her to reset and make it right. And we need you and 3 of your friends to get this message across. Now, you could take action now by texting READ 313 to 52886. Again, that's text READ to the number 52886. You will then receive a text within a few minutes, and you'll have instructions on how to connect with the governor's office and all of her social media platforms.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.